The Salmo Hornet has got to be one of the most famous and well-respected crankbaits in the whole of the world. It definitely is across Europe. So it's only fitting then that this brilliant lure gets its own range of rods, and that's what we're here to talk about today. There are 4 rods in the range, and they cover everything from the lightest lure that we do in the Hornet range right up to these big Hornet 9s that are designed for big pike, catfish and whatnot. The main thing to remember is that the Hornet rods are specifically designed for fishing crankbaits. So they are different to what you're used to if you fish soft plastics. So we'll take a closer look at that, why they're different, and how that benefits your fishing. So we'll start off, look at the lightest in the range and the one that was launched just at the end of last year, the Hornet Pro Finesse. So this rod with that casting weight is designed to cover the smaller end of the Hornet spectrum. And it's not just Hornets, you've got your standard Hornets, which are the foam filled body ones, and the rattling Hornets, which are the plastic hollow Hornet with the rattling side and the long cast systems and all that. But you can also fish on these rods, especially this one on the Finesse, stuff like the Minnow, you've got the Butcher, you've got the Sparky Shad, all the smaller crankbaits that work in the same way as the Hornet. So you're not just limited, because it says Hornet, to the Salmo Hornets. You can fish all types of crankbait on this rod, as long as they are crankbaits and within that weight range. Now, the reason that you can fish crankbaits on this rod better than, say, on a jigging rod or a rod designed for soft plastics is because of the way it's designed. When you think about how you fish a crankbait, it's almost a constant action. So if you're jigging with a soft plastic and cast out, you'll let it settle, and then you'll jig it again and let it settle. With a crankbait, most of the time, it's very active. You're retrieving it. You might pause it every now and again to rise in the water, but most of the time it's on the retrieve. That's when the action happens. The action that comes from these lures is when you're pulling them back towards you, and that water is acting on the crankbait, on the bib and on the sides of the lure, and you're getting the wiggle out of them. So given that you're always pulling this lure towards you, and you're more than likely to get the bites when this lure is coming towards you, you want a softer action in the tip, and this is what the rods give you. So when a pike or a perch smash into a lure which is traveling towards you and there's tension on the rod tip, you've got more chance, if that's a stiffer rod tip, of pulling the lure out of the fish's mouth and not getting the hookups that you want. With a softer tip, when you strike, that hook is going to stay in a better place to get a hookup, and you're going to find that with a treble hook as well, as opposed to a single hook like on your soft plastics, with a treble hook, with that softer action, because you're trying to put the power from the strike into 3 hook points instead of the 1, that you're going to get a better transfer of that energy from your strike into the fish's mouth without pulling the hook away and pulling out when you strike as well. So that's very important. That's the same across all 4 Salmo rods. You've got a softer tip. You know, there's plenty of power in the rod, but on that initial loading up of the rod from the tip downwards, it's much softer than, say, a jigging rod or a soft plastic rod. So that's very important. That's what's designed into this range of rods. But that design is what really makes these perfect for crankbaits. All different casting weights, but throughout the range, that is the key to these brilliant rods and why they work so well with crankbaits. So that's the Hornet Pro Finesse rod, the lightest end of the scale. In the middle, you've got 2 more rods. So you've got the Pro Medium and the Pro Light. The Pro Light is 5 to 20 grams. So that's slightly up from the Finesse and gives you a lot of scope for slightly larger Salmos and slightly larger crankbaits. And then you've got the Medium, 10 to 40 grams. A good all-round rod, especially for pike angling. And from there, we get really heavy. The big mama of the Hornet rod range is the Pro Heavy. This is a 20 to 60 gram rod. Now, you think about that in terms of a crankbait, 60 grams of crankbait is quite big. We're not talking about your big soft plastics, which have got inherent weight in the plastic. We're talking about lures like the Hornet 9. Again, it's got the same soft action as you find in the other 3 rods, but this is designed for big, mega lures, crankbaits like this, perfect for pike. I mean, catfish as well on the continent. Yeah, big zander take this as well. And if you think about it, you've got this running through the water and you've got a 20-pound pike come up and have a vicious take from behind, just smash it. You want to be able to absorb that and also set those trebles at the same time. You're not putting the energy into one hook that's going to find a point. So this rod gives you that absorption to be able to set the hooks, absorb the lunge of the fish at the same time, so you're not missing out on bites, and then loads up and you've got loads of power down this blank. It's a very powerful blank once you've got a fish on. So out of all the 4 rods, 3 of them, the 3 heaviest, are all 240 centimeters long. We found that to be the optimum length for crankbait fishing. The finesse, because it's slightly lighter, is shorter at 210 centimeters, but with the shorter lures that works really, really well. If you just take a closer look at the rod, aesthetics and technical wise, we've got lovely K guides on here, add for really smooth casting. We've got lovely high quality Fuji reel seats, make sure your rod and your reel stay in the same place all the time. And you know, the aesthetics of them, they're beautiful looking rods. They're understated, nice matte black finish on the blanks. You got the Salmo colour in there with the blue abbreviated handle with the EVA, and it's just a lovely looking rod. It's not a rod that screams in your face, but it's a rod that says you know what you're talking about, you know what you're doing when you're fishing, and you're backing it up with a rod specifically for the crankbaits that you want to use. So there we go, just to prove the excellent design of the Salmo rods. I've just been casting this rattling 3.5 Hornet on the Hornet Pro finesse, and I've just caught an amazing fish. I've caught a brown trout, this small river behind us. I don't know how heavy it is, I'm not going to weigh it. It's just a stunning fish. Look at that. And it did everything that we've been talking about. The finesse rod soaked up the power of this take. The take was immense on this fish, and then it jumped out of the water and just went like a train all over the place, jumped out again. But the Hornet finesse did what it's designed to do, sucked up all of this fish's power and allowed me to get it to the net. I'm just blown away by the fish as much as I'm blown away by the power of that rod. Time to get this amazing brown trout back and let it fight another day.